It was nearly midnight when Jenna finally put her phone down, only to pick it back up seconds later. Sleep wasn't coming tonight, not with the way Nathan had been acting lately. Distant. Distracted. And always so quick to hide his screen when she walked by. She had asked him about it a few times, casually, without pressure, but his answers were always the same. Just work stuff. Group chat with the guys. You're overthinking again, babe. But Jenna wasn't overthinking. She felt it in her bones, something was off. That night, she sat curled on the couch, a blanket draped around her shoulders, scrolling through old photos of them, laughing at the beach, dancing in the kitchen, cuddling under Christmas lights. She missed that version of him. The version who looked at her like she was the only woman in the world. Now, he barely looked at her at all. She opened a blank note on her phone. Typed a list. He changed his password. He's always busy at night. Less affection. Never compliments anymore. That weird smile when he's on his phone. She stared at the list, heart thudding. The signs were there. But what could she do? Confront him again? Hire a private investigator? No. She needed something smarter. Something undeniable. And then it hit her. What if she didn't confront him as Jenna? What if she found out the truth as someone else? Her fingers trembled as she downloaded a fake chat app and created a new account. She gave herself a new name, Alina Rivers. The kind of name that sounded like mystery and mischief. She used an AI-generated profile photo, beautiful, but not too unreal. Dark waves of hair. Green eyes. Subtle red lips. Then she found Nathan's profile. Of course he had one. Just for memes, he'd once said. Sure. She hesitated, then sent the first message. Hey there, stranger. You look like someone worth knowing. Her heart pounded as the message flew through cyberspace. She stared at the screen, waiting for the scene mark. It felt like forever. Then, typing. Her breath caught. You too. Got a name? And just like that, her world cracked. It had taken him less than a minute. No hesitation. No mention of a girlfriend. She almost threw the phone across the room. But a part of her, cold, calculating, protective, whispered, not yet. You need to know more. So she smiled through the tears forming in her eyes, and typed back. Alina. You? Nathan, he replied. Nice to meet you. The irony made her sick. She clicked on his profile, seeing how carefully curated it was. Gym pics. Sunset selfies. A quote in the bio, be real or be gone. The hypocrisy stung. Jenna closed the app and leaned back, staring at the ceiling fan spinning overhead. What had she just started? She didn't know yet. But one thing was certain. This game was on. Jenna told herself it would be just one conversation. One harmless chat to see if Nathan would take the bait. But now, 3 days later, Alina and Nathan were chatting every night, laughing, sharing stories, and even flirting. It made her stomach twist. He hadn't crossed any explicit lines yet. No sexting. No plans to meet. But the emotional connection? It was undeniable. Alina had asked him, "Are you seeing anyone?" Nathan had replied. "It's complicated. We've been distant for a while. I guess I'm just open to someone who understands me." Jenna read that message 10 times, each word cutting deeper. Complicated? They lived together. Slept in the same bed. Ate the same dinners, when he wasn't working late. And now he was pretending to be a misunderstood bachelor? She wanted to scream. But she couldn't stop. She had started this game, and now she had to see how far he would go. Every time he messaged Alina, he was digging his own grave, and he didn't even know it. One night, Jenna asked him as herself, "Want to watch a movie together?" He glanced at his phone and replied, "I'm tired." Maybe tomorrow. Not even 5 minutes later, a message popped up on Alina's screen. Can't sleep. Want to talk? She stared at the screen in disbelief. Tired, huh? She replied coldly as Alina. Sure. What's on your mind? And he spilled everything, about how he felt ignored, how he didn't feel seen, how relationships are messy. He even said, I wish I'd met you sooner. That was it. Jenna's hands clenched into fists. This wasn't curiosity anymore. This was betrayal. But the worst part? He still kissed her goodbye every morning. Still called her babe. Still acted like nothing was wrong. By day, she was his girlfriend. By night, she was his fantasy. She started recording everything, screenshots, voice memos, saved chats. A quiet little folder on her phone named Truth. And yet, despite the pain, she kept replying. Because with every lie he told Alina, he was proving something Jenna needed to know. Who he really was when no one was watching. But one evening, something shifted. He sent a message that made her breath hitch. Alina, I think about you more than I should. I don't know what this is, but I want to find out. She stared at the blinking cursor. He was ready to take it further. She waited. And then came the message that changed everything. Do you want to meet sometime? Her throat went dry. This wasn't just a test anymore. This was real. She typed slowly. Maybe. Where would we go? Nathan's reply was immediate. Someplace quiet. No pressure. Just you and me. Jenna's mind raced. She had all the proof now. She could expose him, confront him, walk out the door and never look back. But a darker part of her wanted more. Not just to catch him. To trap him. She whispered to herself, you want to meet her? Fine. Let's meet. And she began to plan the perfect setup. A place, a time. And a surprise Nathan would never. Jenna stared at her reflection in the mirror, wondering how a woman like her had ended up here, planning a secret meeting with her own boyfriend under a fake identity. She hadn't slept much the night before. Nathan had stayed up late again, typing away on his phone with that familiar grin. The one he never gave her anymore. She opened her phone and reread the messages between Alina and Nathan. Saturday night? Yeah. I know a lounge. Not too loud. We can talk. Can't wait, he had written. I haven't been this excited in a long time. Jenna wanted to laugh. Or cry. Or scream in his face. Instead, she smiled at her reflection, a cold, calculated smile, and whispered, you'll be excited, all right. She booked the lounge under a different name. A nice booth in the corner, away from the crowd. She made sure it had security cameras. Not for protection, for proof. The plan was simple. She would arrive first, disguised in a long coat and hat, sitting just a few feet away. Close enough to see everything. He'd come in looking for Alina. And then, she'd step into the light. Nathan wouldn't know what hit him. Saturday came. Jenna dressed carefully, not as Alina, but as herself. No makeup tricks, no costumes. She didn't want to look like someone else. She wanted him to see her. The woman he had chosen. The woman he had betrayed. She arrived 10 minutes early and slipped into a booth where she had a clear view of the table Nathan had chosen. The host brought her a drink. She nodded politely and waited, fingers tapping nervously under the table. And then, there he was. Nathan entered, dressed to impress. Hair styled, shirt crisp, even holding a single red rose. Her heart clenched. He never brought me flowers. He scanned the room, looking for Alina. Checked his phone. Smiled slightly. Waited. She watched him fidget. Adjust his collar. Sip water. He really thought he was about to meet someone new. Someone exciting. Someone who wasn't the boring girlfriend waiting at home. Jenna took a deep breath. Then she stood. Every step toward him felt like thunder in her chest. Nathan glanced up, expecting someone else. His face turned pale. "Jenna," he said, stunned. "What are you?" She dropped into the seat across from him. Calm. Steady. Deadly. She pulled out her phone. Opened the chat. Turned the screen toward him. "Still excited?" she asked. He blinked, staring at the screen in horror as realization dawned. "You're Alina?" "No," she said coldly. "I'm your girlfriend. The one you just tried to cheat on." He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. She leaned in closer. "Say something, Nathan." "Anything." He stammered, "It was just talking, I didn't mean, it wasn't real." She cut him off. "Every lie you told me, every sweet word you gave her, I saw it all. I watched you fall for a woman who didn't even exist. And the worst part? You were happy to do it. People were starting to notice." Nathan's voice dropped. "Let's go somewhere else. Please. We can talk." But Jenna stood, took her phone, and turned away. She didn't need to hear more. He had already said everything. Outside, rain began to fall. She walked into it without caring. She had planned the trap, and he'd walked right into it. But as she reached her car, a message lit up her phone. From Alina's account. "Nice move, Jenna. But you're not the only one playing games." She froze. Wait, she had deleted the fake account. So who? Jenna sat motionless in the car as the rain slid down the windshield like quiet tears. Her phone still glowed with the last message. "Nice move, Jenna. But you're not the only one playing games." She stared at the screen, heart thudding. It wasn't from Nathan. It wasn't from her. And it wasn't possible. She had deleted the Alina account. Erased the app. Cleared the data. So who had access to it now? She tapped the message, no reply option. Just a blinking cursor. A ghost in the machine. A sudden chill crawled up her spine. Someone else knew. Someone had been watching. But who? She rushed home, mind spinning. Nathan had already beat her there. He was pacing the living room like a cornered animal. The rose he'd brought now lay crushed on the floor. "Jenna, please," he said as soon as she stepped in. "Just let me explain." She closed the door without a word and stared him down. "Explain what?" "That you were emotionally cheating? That you were ready to meet a total stranger behind my back? I didn't think." "You didn't care," she snapped. He fell silent. She tossed her phone onto the couch. "I have proof of everything. The messages, the screenshots, the timestamps." His voice broke. "I messed up. I know. But I love you." "No, Nathan. You loved Alina. You loved a lie." Her voice cracked but stayed steady. "And I created that lie, just to see if you'd fail." "And I did," he whispered, sinking onto the couch. "God, I'm such an idiot." She folded her arms. "We're done." But something about his face, it didn't look like guilt. It looked like fear. "Nathan," she said, narrowing her eyes. "Why do you look like that?" He hesitated. "After I left the lounge. I got a message too," he said quietly. "From Alina's account." Jenna's blood ran cold. "What did it say?" He pulled out his phone and showed her. "Did you really think she was doing this alone?" Jenna felt the floor shift beneath her. "What the hell does that mean?" she whispered. Nathan looked pale. "I thought you sent it to scare me. But now." She shook her head. "I didn't. I couldn't." They stared at each other, both realizing the same thing at once. This wasn't just a game between them anymore. Someone else was involved. Someone who had been watching from the shadows. But who? Jenna opened the fake account app again, using the recovery option. The profile was still active. Still online. She clicked the chat log. All her old messages were there, but so were new ones. Sent after she deleted the app. One stood out. She thinks she's in control. But soon, she'll know the truth. Jenna's hand shook. She looked at Nathan. He looked back. And for once, they weren't angry lovers. They were two people caught in something much bigger than their broken relationship. That night, Jenna barely slept. She changed her passwords. Reset her phone. Hid her laptop. But no matter what she did, that last message echoed in her head. She thinks she's in control. Jenna's world felt smaller with every passing hour. What began as a loyalty test had turned into a nightmare, one where the rules kept changing and the players were no longer clear. The fake account Alina was active again, without her. And someone else was behind the screen, sending threats, stirring chaos, and watching. But watching from where? The next morning, Jenna drove to a cafe, needing air, caffeine, and clarity. Nathan hadn't said much after last night's shared discovery. Just paced the apartment, quiet, pale, shaking his head every few minutes like he was trying to wake up from a bad dream. She scrolled through the recovered chat log again. Soon, she'll know the truth. It was never just you two. Who else could it be? She wondered. Then something clicked. 6 months ago, Nathan had confessed to a brief flirtation with a girl from work. Someone named Riley. Jenna had forgiven him then, mostly because nothing physical had happened. But now, she searched the Alina account settings. Checked the linked recovery email. And froze. Riley.t****@mail.com***. Her fingers went numb. Riley had hacked the account. No. Not hacked. She had been watching from the beginning. Had she seen Jenna create the profile? Had she somehow taken over the game? Was Riley behind all the messages that came after Jenna deleted the account? She rushed back home, heart thundering. Nathan was sitting on the edge of the bed, face buried in his hands. She threw the door open. You didn't tell me Riley was still texting you. He looked up, confused. She's not. Jenna grabbed his phone, opened his texts, nothing recent from Riley. But something didn't sit right. She asked, You told her about our problems, didn't you? Months ago? He hesitated. Yeah, she was easy to talk to. I stopped, though. I swear. Jenna's mind was spiraling. If Riley had feelings for Nathan, if she had sensed a crack in their relationship, what better way to break them apart than to manipulate both sides? What if she had pretended to be Alina too, even before Jenna created the account? A deeper game. One none of them saw coming. Her phone buzzed. A message from the Alina account. You wanted the truth? Meet me. 7 p.m. Rooftop bar. Come alone. Nathan leaned over. Don't go. It's not safe. But Jenna's jaw clenched. She had started this test. Now she had to finish it. 7 p.m. She stood at the rooftop bar, scanning every face. The sun was bleeding into the skyline, painting everything gold and red. And then, there she was. Riley. Smiling, holding a drink. Wearing a black coat and no guilt. You came, Riley said calmly. You were behind it all, Jenna whispered. Riley shrugged. You weren't enough for him. And you knew it. Jenna's hands balled into fists. So you made me doubt him. Made me destroy us. Riley leaned in, smirking. All I did was give you a mirror. You did the rest. Jenna felt sick. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a game Riley had been playing from both sides. "Why?" she asked. And Riley's reply chilled her to the bone. "Because I wanted to see which one of you would fall harder." Jenna stepped back, breath short. "You're sick." Riley smiled sweetly. "No. Just smarter." She walked away, fading into the crowd like a ghost with a secret. That night, Jenna sat in silence. Her phone buzzed once more. From an unknown number. She was just the beginning. "Are you ready for who's next?" She dropped the phone. Her breath caught. Who was next? And worse, who was still watching?